right. We're just going to start off laughing because this is so backwards. All right. You got to quit laughing if I'm going to do this. Blooper reel. Welcome, everyone. You got to quit laughing. You got to quit. How much of he's laughing? My radio voice or me being over here? What he's laughing at?
Go ahead.
I can't, dude. I can't look at you with a straight face.
Okay.
Don't get me coughing. Okay. You gotta get serious. I'll tone down the radio voice. Okay.
It's all right. I like it.
Welcome, everyone, to the Branded Podcast. Why do you? I didn't even see it till you went. Welcome, everyone, to the Branded Podcast, where our goal is to stir up faith using your testimony and hearing about your walk with God. Now, in case you haven't noticed, things are a little different. I'm in the driver's seat today. I'm in Tristan's back cave. I've also got some help. I've enlisted the help of my lead senior technical assistant, Will Goss. Hey, there he is. You can folks get a behind-the-scenes look at how we do this. Yeah. All right. Our guest today is none other than Mr. Tristan Odle. Welcome, Tristan.
Thanks for having me.
You seem nervous, Tristan. Is there a reason?
I know.
Okay.
No, you're doing good, Justin. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm doing all right then. Well, what I want to talk to you about today, the reason I'm interviewing you is I want to hear all about your mission trip to Nigeria.
Okay, well, I will just wait for you to ask those probing questions,
Okay.
and I will answer them the best I can.
Okay. So first of all, I'm just curious about, because I'm a logistical kind of person. So you get a calling from God, from other pastors, from different, you're led by the Holy Spirit to go on a mission trip. So, and you've got faith in God that's going to work out. But what's your next step? How do you plan, financially, with your time, all the logistics? How does that come together for a trip like that? That's a big trip.
Yeah, you've painted a very eloquent spiritual picture of how things happen, and it doesn't happen that way.
Okay, well, tell me how it does happen.
It was a year ago, for this particular one, that Reverend Kenneth Onenezi, who I've known for over 20 years. I've been to Nigeria once, Jos, Nigeria, and he has a way of implementing things as the Lord leads him, and he let me know that I would be the one. He invited me to be the lead speaker at a pastor's conference there, and I'm going, I had no plans on going back to Jos. No plans.
Was there a particular reason for that? Why did you have no plans to ever go back to Jos?
Because it wasn't mission trips to places that are they can be very difficult. And you always wonder about what the impact is. You invest money in it, and you come back and go, Lord, what did you do there? What's the fruit of that? And sometimes it's hard to find out. You don't have a very good measuring thing. On occasion, and this is where God's grace comes in, He allows you to run into someone who says, what you shared at this time or that time, it made a huge impact on me in my spiritual walk. And then you go, oh, well, thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it. And I'm saying, thank you, Lord. There's some feedback.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part in the Christian walk, if you're pastoring or sharing, you don't get that immediate feedback. And you just have to trust that you're sowing the seed and God's going to make it grow. So as far as Nigeria goes, I didn't have a heart for it. I talked to him, but it's always a need.
Yeah.
Over the 20 years, Kenneth approaches me, lets me know what the needs are, and then I let other people know, and some people, have a burden to help underwrite that with finances and stuff. But no, that was my first thing. It's like, oh, that's an honor to be asked to be the lead speaker at a pastor's conference for, Nigerian pastors in the capital city of the Plateau State. It's like, there's a carrot there.
Yeah.
the downside of it is that he said, and it's gonna and I want you to pay for the whole conference,
Oh.
all the food, everything, and because it's a brilliant strategy that invite a few pastors over, and encourage them that they'll be financing or underwriting the whole conference so that it'll bless the pastors in Nigeria.
Yeah.
I hats off to Kenneth. He's good that way. So
So it wasn't an immediate excited, oh yes, I'd love to be there.
no, and I don't travel alone. Jesus sent them out 2 by 2. So
And you're not well unsupervised, we know. So,
yeah. In fact, the first time I went, it wasn't. I don't know if it was my first mission trip. No, it wasn't my first mission trip to Nigeria. But the first time I went with another pastor, because I had told him, it's not good that you're traveling alone. If you ever need somebody to travel with you, I'm willing to do that. And then before I know it, he's saying, yeah, I'm going to Nigeria. Are you up for going then? Okay. So
yeah.
in this particular one, I thought, all right, Kenneth, I've got the information. I will prayerfully consider it. You don't want to go into places that you'll be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You don't want to go places that the food might be a little bit different. You don't want to go in places that you're going,
Or that your faith is being persecuted.
well, that too, I mean, it's very
Yeah.
dangerous. That's a whole different level on that. But just for anything, digestive issues that's funny. Digestive things on a mission trip are a real concern, because you might go there and you drink the wrong water, or you brush your teeth with tap water, and something could happen that you're not feeling well. So that's one of the concerns. Yeah, you can ask.
I'm letting you do your thing.
Well,
So I'm gonna ask the question I ask a lot of our guests if you watch many of these podcasts.
I have.
Well, you've been here for them, so
Yeah, I have. I've watched all of them.
but no, seriously. So you've been asked not only come and speak at a conference to other pastors, but you're subsequently kind of underwriting it, helping pay for it. So what was your prayers, because you said, you told him you thoughtfully pray about it and that kind of thing. What were your prayers at that time? What did you, when you talked to God, what was it like at that point? What did you say to God? I mean, did you?
I wish I could say that I deeply wrestled with it, but I don't do that. I don't deeply wrestle with things. It's like, okay, Lord, you've brought this into my environment. I'm willing to go if you provide everything for it. I'm willing to go I have to have somebody to go with me. But I don't care. I don't feel the weight of, I've got to come up with, I think
And you originally had somebody lined up to go with you, but they had some other things happen and couldn't go. Is that right?
Well, originally I had asked Pastor Tim here, and he's got his plate full here.
Yeah.
But he did, he never did say no. A year of asking him, he never did say no, but he never got the green light that he to go on this. And by the time it was too late, there was more of a, maybe I'm supposed to go.
Yeah.
But the time had already passed for
Okay.
that. So as far as me, what did I say to God? It's like, well, this is interesting, Lord. And my prayers are, Lord, I know nothing comes into my environment that hasn't been sifted through the Father's hands first.
Yeah.
So he's not surprised. He's not on his throne. Go, whoa! Hey, Gabriel, did you? Who got this thing rolling? God's not surprised, and so He's allowed it, and I receive it. Go, okay, Lord, I'm willing. I'm willing to go, but you also know that I'm not a finance guy. I don't.
We've learned that, Tristan.
Yeah,
We've learned that about you.
money comes and goes. Money's just a resource.
It's a tool or energy, right?
It's a tool or energy, but I don't fret about if I have enough. Mine is, okay, well, I'll find out when the flights are, and God's going to provide for it. Where God guides, God provides.
So you're going, whether it's first class coach or, slow boat, you decide you provide, Lord, and I'm going to go.
Well, that's it. It really is. And it's not about comfort level. You'd like it to be really comfortable. I mean,
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with desiring that. But so Pastor Tim, months went by, and I finally said, don't worry about it. I'm releasing you from even asking. And I think by that time I'd asked my son, this, Pastor Kenneth, who my son knows because Pastor Kenneth saw my kids when they're little. That's how long we've known each other. And he visits the States quite often to raise awareness and funds and support for the ministries he has back in Nigeria. So there's a relationship there. And my son, I think he's 30 now. I'm doing good if I hit that right on, but I think he's 30. He was excited about it because we had planned on going to Nicaragua with a mission thing because I wanted to go on a mission trip with my son.
Yeah.
And he was 13 thereabouts at the time, 13 or 14, something like that. And we got to we were living in Washington State, and the Seattle-Tacoma Airport, SeaTac, is where you fly out of. We were there up the gate and getting ready to check in and stuff. And the counter person, she looks at his passport and goes, "Sorry, you don't have enough time on this passport." I said, "Well, it doesn't expire for 3 months. It has to have 6 months on it."
Wow.
And that was a learning curve. So I'd invited a doctor to go to Nicaragua too, who wasn't necessarily a believer, but he was willing to go to do this thing. And he's already part of this mission trip thing. And we're standing at the counter, and I can go, but then my son's sitting there. And so I decided I can't abandon my son. So we both stayed, just sat down and watched the mission team go. And the doctor, kind of looking back, he went with the mission team of the church we were at. Didn't really know him, but he was willing to go anyway. So from that point on, there was a desire that maybe one day, and then my son was very, very excited about it, and he shared, "Dad, but I've always wanted to go on a mission trip with you. We should do this. Don't worry about the finance thing, and God will provide all that kind of stuff." And he was enthusiastic. In fact, "I'll take care of orchestrating that and fundraising and stuff." And, okay, that's great. It's off my plate.
Yeah.
Well, not that I would worry about it anyway, but
We know.
yeah, it was off my plate. And so that's how it just started happening, and people started supporting. Of course, this church was a huge support to that. So much so that we had, when we got back, was able to send another amount of money to Nigeria after the fact. So yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Okay, so you take multiple plane rides, I assume, multiple to get there. You're landing. Now, it's not culture shock for you because you've been there before, but describe for us what's it like in Nigeria? The culture, the people.
The one thing I've discovered, whether it's Nigeria or Haiti or India, people are people.
Oh, yeah.
The biggest shock to get used to is the how they coordinate. It's like there's so many people and they're driving and people are honking. And here in America, if you honk at someone, you don't do it real quickly because you don't want to be offensive. You don't want to be rude.
Somebody know, right?
Yeah. And you, how can I make this horn sound polite? Beep beep. But it's part of the communication. It's almost like Morse code for driving.
Yeah. Your turn, lay on the horn.
But it's always accompanied by the drivers, their cultures. It's honk. What are you doing? Don't get out of the way. Get out of the way. So that's just part of the culture.
Very orderly roads, very, very strict driving laws.
Yeah.
Fill us in on that.
Yeah. No, it was whatever. If you needed to get someplace, if there was an opening, it didn't matter where it was. That's where you could go. Not much about.
So
it. You have to. How did I? there's a particular muscle that tightens.
We can use the word
that,
sphincter, right?
Yes. If they had a calendar for sphincter body, I would have been on it. Because there's
so you were a little nervous, is what you're saying in the back seat.
It would be like being a passenger in Will when he's training on this airplane. Are we going to make it? Are we going to make it?
Yeah, I think you had mentioned that they just take exits when they don't have to be labeled. They just take them when they take them, right?
It was fascinating. It's absolutely fascinating if you survive the trip to do that. Here's a side note.
Okay.
I find it a fun story, but some people will go, "Oh, that's not fun." Kenneth, on a lot of times he had the neighbor's driver would drive us so that he wouldn't have to drive when we went to the conference in different places. But other times the driver wasn't available, so Kenneth would drive his own vehicle. And I think this particular incident, it happened after we had I'd gone through the conference and such, where we were driving along, and I think we went out I took him, he and his wife Helen, out to lunch, and then we were going. He wanted to buy some souvenirs that I could bring home to family and such. And this, light brown dog comes running out in front of the car. We hit the thing. Oh. It's just like, oh, And Kenneth, he goes, oh, and he, everybody's wide awake, and he goes, in all the 50 years I've been driving, I've never hit anything in Nigeria. That's the first time. And he goes, and I'm not worried about the dog. I wonder if it damaged my car. Okay. I said, okay.
Wow.
So we get to this little place. They have vendors, and Kenneth and Helen were looking at gifts that they want to give.
Kind of an open air market kind of thing?
Yeah, kind of in a park type area by their definition of what a park is. And as we're getting there, Helen's standing there, and then this light brown dog comes up next to her leg, and she reaches down to pet the dog, and I leaned over and, oh, we just met your brother.
Oh, that's a Tristan sense of humor right there.
It was, yeah, I'm gonna get in trouble for that, but Helen, she goes, oh, and she couldn't help but laugh a little bit. Oh, that's terrible. And I said, yeah, it was. So anyway, that's the story there.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Well, let's get into the meat and potatoes here. So tell us about what your role was in the conference, how things went. What is their worship like? Those kind of things. What were your experiences?
Well, the worship is deafening in the volume of it, and there is no half measure. If there was a way to
There's
stress,
no lukewarm, right?
if to stress test the amps or microphones, they did. They put them on the very lifespan of speakers there, or amplifiers may not be very much because they're way up there, but they're full on into it. They're
but isn't that kind of refreshing, though?
Well, it is, except 10 feet from me, I'm sitting sideways. The congregation is facing this direction, and I'm in a special seat on the side with some of the other pastors, and across me there's pastors, and then the congregation is here facing the stage, which is there. So, but the speaker's right here, and so this ear is just getting pummeled. But strategically, I had earplugs, so I could put one in here. And I didn't have to put one on this side, so I wouldn't offend anybody by putting earplugs in, because it's like if I were to stand like this the whole time, it would be offensive. But I was able to protect this ear. It was full on. It was good, and there was a freedom in it that we don't have necessarily here, or.
Here, it seems like a lot of times you're worried about, what's the guy next to me going to think? I'm raising my hands. I'm singing really loud. What are they going to think?
Yeah.
What are they going to? But there, they don't have that, do they?
No, they don't. They're fully abandoned in worship, and as they should be. And for them, I don't know if they get another chance to party like that. I've described it. It's not a church service; it's a church party, and the worship leader comes off the stage and he's all the way to the back of the sanctuary, just singing in the cordless microphone, coming up, and people are dancing and a lot of fun. And then there was one point in the time that the gals who were worshiping, they picked up their chairs and they were dancing around with the chairs in the sanctuary. And,
Okay.
and I'm watching this wide-eyed, and all of a sudden this a gal comes up and she grabs my hand and she leads me around the sanctuary while everybody's dancing and singing and worshiping. Great freedom. They enjoy it. And I appreciated that they could just relax and fully be embraced by the worship time.
Yeah. Well, when it came to, the message that you delivered, do you felt that they benefited from it, that they were listening? Is there any kind of language issue or dialect or culture
yeah.
that kept you from?
Yeah, they have, I don't know, 30, 40 different tribal dialects there, but they communicate with each other in English. But their English is so broken to my ears that I can't really, I get 80% of what they're saying, and the other 20% I'm nodding with a smile.
Well, in all fairness, our English is probably broken to English people. So, in all fairness,
the Southern, yeah. But no, it was. One thing I do recognize wherever I am, that people have the same desires, people have the same needs, people know joy with the same intensity, though perhaps there was a this is where it gets really difficult for me, and this is where I have a. When I came back, you saw what condition I was when I came back. I was quite a mess. But when you have someone, I stood out like a sore thumb. There was nobody looked like me.
Not.
Surely did, yes.
You're slightly Caucasian, so yeah.
Slightly Caucasian. I represented very well in that sector. But when people would approach me, the pastors or the leaders in ministry there, it was so much excitement because not a lot of people visit. It's rare. It's not like next week they'll have another missionary. Week after that, it's rare. In fact, I have the.
So is it rare that Americans visit, that white folks visit? What is it that's
all of the above. But as far as like a pastor visiting there, I'm the only returning pastor. Pastor Kenneth has been in ministry 50 years, and he's only had 3 pastors visit, and I'm the only one that's ever returned.
You're the only guy good enough to come back.
Yeah. So
I got you. So it's not high on the list, apparently, of places that, folks are going to visit as far as that goes. But your goal, though, with the whole conference was to uplift the pastors and preachers that are already there, right?
And encourage them.
Encourage them.
And I think that's what happened. But like we talked earlier, I'm not a real good judge on what kind of impact any ministry I do has. I don't have the vocabulary or the intestinal fortitude to come back and say, "Oh yeah, I did. God really used me to do this, and God was just moving powerfully through me." I'm more apt to recognize God was really moving in them to do that, but I don't necessarily see it with myself.
Yeah.
So I rely on the testimony, however great or small or rare, that someone would come up and share. And that's why I even shared those text messages that the leader sent to Kenneth, that Kenneth sent to me as an encouragement. Apparently there was a real refreshing, unique.
Yeah, I read through those, and it felt like everybody felt it was a breath of fresh air. It was refreshing that you were an excellent speaker, and that they enjoyed the food too. But it looked like it was a well done thing. Back to what you're talking about as far as not knowing what you get or who it's for. The main thing is that God uses you. I've talked with folks before that we talk about blessings and we assume that those blessings are for us. That anything that involves us, what's going to bless us. Well, not necessarily. Sometimes something we're blessed with is meant to bless somebody else, and we don't think about that as much. But the fact that you were blessed with the finances to be able to go and all that kind of stuff wasn't so much for you. It was for them. You know, it was a blessing on them. So,
yeah. And in talking with people about mission trips and going on a mission trip, more often than not, you'll have someone who say, well, I don't really have a peace about it. And I can verify that of the numerous mission trips I've been on, I don't think I've ever had a peace about it. What I don't have is a peace not to go.
you don't have fear and anxiety, is what you're saying.
I don't have that kind of fear and anxiety. I've gone on mission trips where I might have mentioned, well, I did one in Tonga where we built a respite center there, and my back was out. I used to have really bad back problems, and because I grew up in the masonry trade and a lot of block and brick, and it just wears you out.
Yeah.
It's in my skill set. I was raised that I can do masonry work, and there was the need to do masonry work for the first floor of a respite center in Tonga, and my back is out a week prior to leaving. But I said, well, God, you're gonna have to heal me. You're gonna have to heal me. The whole time I was there, the 2 weeks I was there, no back pain at all. I was able to do all the block work and everything. And the day after I got back, it went out again.
Ooh.
So I think that was my first mission trip, and that kind of set the stage that if God's calling you someplace, He's going to provide whatever you need, whether it's finances or, connections or whatever it is. He'll provide for it to do the work that He's called you to do. And for me, that was a good testimony. Okay, I can trust you, God, to get me through it, whatever it is.
I don't mean to interrupt, but I'm just going to remind you that we have Senior Lead Technical Assistant Will back here, who's manning the cameras and switching, by the way, just to intervene. So people got to look at me for a second while you were talking, but that's okay. That's okay.
Were you absorbed in this story?
We're going to demote you to junior senior lead.
He must have been absorbed in the story. Well, that's good. See, now there I have a tangible. People were engaged. Thank you, Will, for doing that. That was just for me, I'm sure.
Yeah. But okay. Well, you brought it up. So, when you came back, you were not yourself, sir. I couldn't tell if it was physically tired, jet lag, or if it was spiritually exhausted, drained. I couldn't tell exactly what it was. I just knew that you needed some rest and some space. And so, but everybody, of course, wants to hear about Nigeria and talk to you about what's going on. They're thanking you and glad you're back. But you looked pretty worn down. So what did you go through? What was that all about?
All right. Yeah, I didn't have a lot of words articulated. I was, like you say, I was a mess, on the verge of tears the whole time. And it's not that I haven't been to places like this before. And Jos, Nigeria, has got a lot of challenges, but it's far in far better shape than like Haiti when I was down there teaching in Haiti. So I couldn't figure out what it was that I was experiencing. And again, this is my first pastors conference. So I rubbed elbows with all of the leaders. It was a variety pack. It wasn't just, well, let me back up. You've got two different, branches in Christian, the way they describe it. You're Catholic or you're Pentecostal. Pentecostal covers every other flavoring of Christianity. Catholic is Catholic.
Yeah.
But in this conference, we had Catholic and all the other colors. And there was retired bishop from the Methodist Church. I had a sweet little Catholic sister come up after the first time I shared, and she grabbed my hands and she said, thank you so much. That was very, very good. It meant a lot to me. And so it wasn't just because of the persecution of Christians there.
Yeah. Those
lines of delineation as to what what group you're with as far as Christian. You're either
Those lines go away. Because,
yeah. It's not so much the way it used to be. It's you're either Christian or you're Muslim,
right.
and if you're Christian, you're a target.
Yep.
So therefore, the Christians enjoy getting together in this particular time, this particular season, for the leaders to get together. That was intense because there's a lot of Christian persecution going on, and I was warned by a lot of people who thought I lost my mind to even consider going on a mission trip, but I don't think that way.
Yeah.
If God's calling me, it doesn't matter. Even my wife, and I think we talked about a little bit when we did a podcast with our wives recently, that if God's calling, then He'll take care of it, and if He doesn't come back, well, He'll be with the Lord.
Yeah.
What's the big deal?
Can't threaten me with heaven.
Yeah, you can't threaten me with heaven.
Yeah.
So, but at this conference, now I'm seeing the leaders. The only leader in the church that I've really had any relationship with Kenneth, and you have the American visiting Kenneth, and you have the Nigerian Kenneth. They're two different people.
Okay.
Here, it's like you're wondering if he knows where it's going on, because the customs and things are different here, and he's just enjoying that. There, he's very much in charge. He's at the top of the food chain. I hate to say that, but he is.
You said he was kind of revered in a way. That's what...
Well, I mean, when he goes by Reverend Kenneth, and there's a reverence for his longevity and his place in ministry. In fact, we may or may not get into it, but I met the governor of the state of Plateau because Kenneth was, invited to the governor's dinner for the leaders and stuff. But I got to meet him personally because Kenneth, the governor, used to be a student of his.
Huh.
Yeah, and so he acts differently there, or I guess I should say I have a fuller picture of what it means. And sometimes when I would watch Kenneth, how he'd interact with people, this might have been the start of what I wrestled with. It seemed abrasive or rude. But
Nigerian culture to some degree can kind of come off.
Well, see, that's the thing. I didn't know whether it was just my westernized eyes sitting in judgment of it, or because they do the very Oriental type or Eastern. They bow and humbly. I walk into the room, they stand up. There's good morning, sir. Sir, welcome, sir, and they bow, and if they shake your hand, they bow down. But the leaders, they didn't do that. They were the ones who were they were revered, and it bothered me, and I just because.
Just to have that difference in how
well,
they act in different situations.
Your mind goes through. Well, wouldn't Jesus wash their feet? What's this thing of being in control and in charge and being very authoritative with things? How does that fit in? And I wrestled with it. These are the leaders in the church in Nigeria, and they are behaving in a way that it has the appearance. It is not, but it has the appearance of being a tiered value system. It's not. It has that appearance, but it's not. Okay. That's what my mind wrestled with. And then I realized, and it took a while, it's that in order to survive in ministry or in life there, especially if you have responsibility for others, you have to be very, very strong in the position.
Be a strong leader.
There can't be any wiggle room. This is how it is. Do not do it, because if you allow a little bit, they will fully take advantage of it. And even one of the examples, the leaders, the pastors and leaders, you had a lot of congregation there too at the conference. Well, when we did lunch, we would go to the pastor's office and we'd eat a meal, not with everybody else, but it would be separated. And unbeknownst to me, there was a fellow who Kenneth had done ministry with the previous day, counseling, whatever it was. And he wanders up to where the pastors are, and Kenneth sees him there, and he doesn't say anything. But he's not supposed to be up there.
Yeah.
And so, but Kenneth doesn't say anything, and he told me this later, so that's why I know. But then the next day at the conference, the guy comes back up there. Now he's got a spot in there, and Kenneth says, "No, you need to go back down. You need to go. You're not eating lunch up here. You need to go back down." And so the guy left.
So it's a matter of keeping order and that kind of thing.
It really comes down to that. There is something about, and this is my brain still working it. There's how do you measure if you are successful in life? Here, what does it mean to be successful in life? Yeah,
there's a lot of answers.
There's a lot of answers to that. There, it could be that if you're in ministry, here's what it looks like to be successful. You wear your big cross, and a lot of the Protestants that aren't Catholic, they'll wear the collar just so that they can interact with people. They'll put clergy on the car, so the guys with the guns that are stopping at the road, they can just tell them, "Go away, leave me alone, I'm clergy." If not, they'll be taken advantage of. And to be successful in ministry there, you have to be elevated, that you are representing something greater in yourself. And it may be, just like the priests in the Levitical priesthood, they had to really get dressed up, and they couldn't wear those clothes outside of the sanctuary or the temple,
because they were considered holy.
And so they had to represent that culture, so that there was no mixing. That's kind of what it reminds me of. In Nigeria, pastors, we have Pastor Tim here, who he's one of the guys. And you do a road trip with him, you'll know he's one of the guys. You'll know he's one. But they have to represent much more the separation of what's holy and what's common. And again, it has that appearance of being, what do you call it when the people are different groups? Anyway,
a different class.
Different class.
Yeah.
It's not a different class, but it's representing in a way that has the appearance. I couldn't, and that's one of the things that I really struggle with.
It sounds like it's not so much that you were wrestling with physical fatigue or even spiritual fatigue. It was just trying to figure out where to file away some of the things you experienced in your brain, about how they conduct themselves and how their church works.
Yeah, that plus, once people meet you, you become a resource.
Yeah.
It's no longer about, I want to find out who Tristan is.
Now, what can Tristan do for me?
That's very much how it came across.
Did you visit other churches, schools?
I did. I got to preach at another church, which it was built to hold about 3,000 people. It was a huge thing. It wasn't finished, but that's how they do it. When they have the resources, they build, and then they use it until they have more resources to build more. But it didn't have 3,000 people. In fact, the church is there. Even Kenneth's church, I was expecting that it's been 20 years, it must be bigger, but it doesn't. It hasn't grown that way. It's not. Our church is probably bigger than Kenneth's church. I did meet others, but they're.
So were they actively asking for donations or help, or what? How did they approach you?
Yes, there was one lady there who remembered me from last time.
Really?
Oh, and she was so fun. Betty. She spells her name different, but it's Betty. Oh, she greets me, and she gives me a big kiss on the cheek every time she saw me. Oh, and she just, I enjoy all these things. She's written several books. And so she gave me some books, and I had her sign them and stuff. And she goes, "The next book I write, your messages, I'm going to put in there what they are and stuff." And, well, thank you. I don't want to get too sidetracked on, what I thought was good or bad or right or wrong, anything like that. The people, yes, they could see you as a resource, but they also enjoyed the fact that you're there in front of them. For them, it was like meeting a celebrity.
That you made the effort to come all the way from.
Yeah. And, well, even I was not allowed to be by myself, even getting off the plane. Kenneth, I flew into Abuja and then from Abuja to Jos. So I'm in Nigeria, in Abuja. And it's a little bit bigger town or city. But from there, I did the shuttle over. Once I landed there, Kenneth, he had to fly to Abuja to meet me there because I could not be by myself in Nigeria.
But why? Was it a safety concern? Was it to get you through, yeah,
it was all of the above.
Okay.
In fact, he had a nice lady, Deborah, Debbie. She met me at customs.
Yeah.
And she took me through, she took my things. She was higher up in the thing, so she just took me through and she wouldn't let me carry my bags or anything.
Did you get pulled out of line? Really?
Yeah, and so that
somebody carried your bags?
Yeah. Well, it was a little bit more pleasant this time. I remember last time I was there 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Kenneth didn't forewarn me that someone was going to be there. But the last time he had somebody in military garb.
So you're like,
yeah, and it's like,
I just landed. I'm already been.
This military fellow, big fellow, Pastor Tristan, Pastor Rob, yeah, come with me. So, but he took my passports and then stamped it. There you go. It was same kind of thing. She made sure I got through the customs and everything, and then she gave me to Pastor Kenneth, and then we went from there on another flight to Jos.
So I'm just curious: is this how business is normally conducted, or was there a sleight of hand gift to make sure you got in okay? What is there? Because a lot of governments can be, what's the word I'm looking for here? A little on the corrupt side with different things.
Well, I don't know. Look, I was denied my visa when I applied for it. For whatever reason, they deny my visa. And Kenneth said, I know someone in immigration. You leave this to me. And in the next day, I had my approval to go to Nigeria. And it's like, okay. I don't know how things work there. But Kenneth did, in one of his texts, he said, I apologize. It charged me $50 service fee. He goes, it is corrupt here. I am sorry, but that's what it cost.
So there was a service fee is the sliding of hand there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. But, we the people have a joy. And if you've watched some of the testimonies of Manuela or Helen, when they laugh with everything they have.
Just everything you have. I've noticed
it's almost like they've learned how to enjoy this moment because the next moment may be a little bit tough.
Yeah, sounds like it. Well, anything else in particular you'd like to share about going to Nigeria?
He wants us to come back. He said, next time you bring 20 people with you. And so I'm in that spot of,
you can be the first pastor to come back 3 times, or come back twice more.
It's more like he was planning the next trip while I hadn't even finished the first one, and it's like, don't do that. No time out. Just give me. But they do have a school there. You've probably seen some of the things, and there's great need at the school. And it would be good to get a group of people together specifically to bless them at the school. Whether it be like a vacation Bible school, whatever. There's accommodations for everybody, but it's a tough place. On the one hand, I was sad that I had to go by myself. My son wasn't able to make it at the last moment, and I don't do that. I wouldn't have gone if it was just me. I wouldn't have gone. But when I was there and the feelings and stuff, it's like, I'm glad that I don't have to be concerned about somebody else, how they're dealing with this. I've been through this before. And I've been through these kind of things before, but it's still overwhelming to me. The spiritual attacks, the spiritual gravity of it was pretty intense this time. And so on that hand, I was thankful that I was seasoned enough that I knew I'd make it through. But I didn't have to watch somebody else endure it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Any advice for somebody who's considering, they feel called, they're not sure where to yet, they're waiting for the Lord to tell them? Any advice for those kind of folks other than just to pray? Well,
if I were Kenneth, I would say it has to be Jos, Nigeria. You have to come here. But there's plenty of mission fields, even locally. But if you want to experience going abroad someplace, I would not do anything to quench it, and try to train your brain not to be so practical. Because faith is this: if you know how it's going to turn out, and if you know where the resources are coming from, and if you know all of those parameters,
you don't have nothing left of faith.
You don't have to exercise faith.
Right. There's nothing left to do with faith.
So if you want to grow your faith, you just say yes, and then you wait to see how God opens up the doors. That would be my strong encouragement. You're not quite the same. You get back in the routine and stuff, but God uses that and brings it to mind that our blessings, our resources are not ours to hold on to, but to spread abroad. First right in front of us, then a little bit farther, and then eventually to the ends of the earth. So get out of what's familiar to you.
Get out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, and stretch your capacity. That's once it gets stretched, then your capacity is even greater and greater. And so that might be why I'm able to shrug my shoulder and go, yeah, I know they're killing Christians over there. What's your point? It's like God is faithful. He will take care of me. I trust him. And I tend to lean towards the Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the fiery furnace thing before they went in and said, our God is able to save us. But even if he doesn't, we're not going to worship your idol. So my God is able to save me through whatever situation. But even if he doesn't, the blessing's still there.
Awesome. Well, thanks again for joining us. I want to thank you, technical lead senior assistant Will Goss, for helping me out today. I can't. I'm not as good as Tristan. I can't control the board and do everything all at once like he does. But for all those folks watching, whether you're on the Crossroads Cowboy Church YouTube channel or the Random Edge channel, we just want to encourage you to pray. Tell somebody about Jesus. A mission field can be anywhere. It can be Greene County. It can be Tennessee. It can be Nigeria. So I encourage you, stretch your faith, get out of your comfort zone, tell somebody about Jesus. We love you. Thanks for watching.